Good morning, everybody. This is the Committee for Persons with Disabilities. Today is April 17th, and we have begun recording our meeting. This is my first opening as chair, so I'm probably going to miss a whole bunch of things.
We'll work with you.
We got you.
That's why you guys are the best. Good afternoon to everybody. Fabulous people, Todd. Katie, I knew it was Katie. And then all of our folks that are joining, thank you, Mr. Pike, for coming on, and Mr. Brady, and I'm gonna butcher your last name, Leonard, so I apologize, but welcome, everybody. Call the meeting to order, and let's begin.
And if you want to, we can do the introductions just to have everyone introduce themselves and share their perspectives.
Of course, that's what we should have done. That's why I have you. My name is Dr. Carolyn Smith. I am a combat wounded Army veteran. I am 100% total and permanent disabled from a roadside bomb. I am your committee chair. I am born and raised here in San Diego and have been on other advisory committees to the city. And I am a biotech and biologic advocate for the veteran space, for the disabled veteran space. And of course, I am a disabled person's advocate as well.
I am Jeanette Shelton. I'm the vice chair of this committee. I have a career background in disability management at the University of California, and I am representing District 3.
I'm Susan Madison. I am a member at large.
Yes, but there's so many more cool things about you.
Is that, are you asking?
I'm just letting the world know there's so many more cool things.
Yeah.
Is your microphone on, Susan?
Cool.
Is your mic
She's
on?
on.
I'm the former ADA director for the city of San Diego, retired from there about 10 years ago. Been in disability public policy, the federal government level for 1 year with the National Council on Disability, and also other many nonprofits and organizations and disability related stuff my whole life. So
I told you there's way more things here.
Oh,
My turn. Fantastic. Why are you sitting all the way down there?
We're doing introductions. Yeah.
Thank you. Jessica Kramer, appointed by Jim Desmond. Lived experience with having a disability for the last, this April will be my 20th year since being stricken with recurrent meningitis, which has caused all sorts of disabilities and has given me great insight into how our 911 services work for people with disabilities, also especially with service dogs, and also experienced homelessness for a time as a person with several disabilities and a service dog. So thank you. Happy to have you here. Thank you.
So next person who would like to go, Lane, Kyle, Cami, John, Todd, Katie, ready to go.
Yeah, I can start first. Sergeant Kyle Pike, San Diego Sheriff's Department, here with the ADA unit.
Thank you for joining us, sir. Next person. Next fantastic person.
I'll go next. My name is Leonard Casiple. I'm a first generation American. I got medically retired as a Green Beret, spent 21 years in the Army, 13 and a half years as a Green Beret, and 6 years as in a counter-terrorist unit. I was trained in Arabic, so I speak, read, and write Arabic. I wasn't a linguist, but I had to learn the language. I was medically retired and couldn't walk for many years. I have titanium knee, 2 titanium hips, and a titanium neck. I isolated from the world for multiple years, didn't listen to music. Was in inpatient psych in the San Diego Naval Hospital for a few days because I was in severe pain. I wanted to kill myself. Thankfully, my family fell apart on a 6-day retreat for families with PTSD in Colorado. I moved out and we reset. Despite all of that, I earned an MBA in global management. I have a master in public policy and administration. I have a master in competitive intelligence, and I'm currently working on my doctorate in law and policy, where my policy focus is the global water supply. And I started my own company, consulting firm, Public Value LLC, and the logo is a PV. You can see that, but it honors the 3 years when I couldn't walk. I was on crutches and on one leg. Nice to meet all of you.
Happy to have you here, my fellow Army brother. Mr. Brady.
Hi, I wasn't actually expecting to introduce myself. My name's John Brady. I'm the director of Lived Experience Advisors. We are a group of formerly homeless individuals that we train and develop to speak at public events, community groups, and a focus area of our work is on people with disabilities who are on our streets, which in California are about, according to California law, 95% of the people that are on our streets. We're deeply concerned that our entire system is not set up to address the needs of people with disabilities, and our classically punitive approach to homelessness is exacerbating people's downward spiral, if you will. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you for being here, sir. Rakina.
Hello, Rakina Boyd Kamei. I am a longtime teacher of students with special needs, as well as I'm the primary caregiver for my husband, who's a tetraplegic from his military service. So I have been a part of this committee and have enjoyed even returning for meetings, even though I'm not currently on the committee. Thank you.
Nice to have you here. I noticed that our two county representatives stepped out for a minute and okay, Todd.
Hi, I'm Todd Hood, and I'm the countywide 88 Title II Coordinator and Chief Privacy Officer and Staff Liaison for the Committee for Persons with Disabilities.
And we have Katie, she stepped out, but we'll give her time to come back in and introduce herself. Do we have anybody else on the call that I missed?
Hi, Elaine Pitts on the call. And I am with the Department of Human Resources. I work closely with Katie and with Todd to offer support to the committee.
Hi, Elaine. Sorry, I didn't have my glasses on.
That's okay.
Anybody else? With that being said, welcome everyone, and we're going to move to agenda item number 2. Do we have any statements for just cause or consideration for a request to participate remotely in emergency circumstances? Do we have any of those on the call or that have been submitted? Todd says no, going once, twice, so, okay. Gonna head to agenda item number 3. We need to vote on the March meeting minutes. Do I have any?
I move to approve the March minutes as written.
Okay, do we actually have any conversation about any questions, comments, concerns?
I'll second.
Great, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Abstains? Fantastic. Let's move on to the fourth piece. Non-agenda comment. This is the point of our meeting where members of the public may address the county issue not elsewhere on the agenda. Each speaker may take up to 2 minutes. Speakers may be limited to less time if several speakers have requested to speak on the same issue. The Committee for Persons with Disabilities is prohibited by the Brown Act from acting on or voting on any issue that is not already on the agenda unless deemed to be urgent. Issues raised may be referred to an appropriate county agency. So do we have any non-agenda public comments? The boards?
Yes, recently, an email, sorry. Recently, an email came out from the ARC of California, a very well-known, quite large advocacy group for people with developmental and intellectual disabilities. They are some of the most involved advisors on many of the disability-related legislation we've seen in the last decade. And they've also been at the helm of the legislation around Senate Bill 338, Senior and Disability Victimization, as well as the recent hate crime bill, AB 449, which makes some updates to the hate crime policies with a special emphasis on people with disabilities, people experiencing homelessness, and people of color. Hate crimes against people with disabilities is considered the invisible hate crime, which is, people with disabilities are considered in the highest risk of all forms of serious crimes and abuse categories, especially women with disabilities, and the least represented in the justice system, with the least reporting from law enforcement and the least prosecuting at the district attorney's levels. And so the ARC recently put out a request for support from stakeholder groups. And I'll just very quickly, how's my 2 minutes? Probably running out. Anyone timing?
You're good.
You're good, great, thank you. And this is something I can send out to the group this week. Dear civil rights and community colleagues, this is an invite to your group to join a long, diverse list of organizations asking for the Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training to make 9 major upgrades to its model hate crime policy. If you choose to sign, thank you so much, we shall overcome. It essentially, the current hate crime bill, AB 449, requires every law enforcement agency in the state to use the post model policy along with any of its own additions, but no subtractions. And so I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention and continue to do everything that we can to help people with disabilities experience hate in the community.
You're fantastic. Thank you. Do we have any other non-agenda public comments?
John Brady has his hand up.
Mr. Brady.
Thank you for, let me make sure. Okay, yes, my mic is open. Thank you for recognizing me. So I want to make a couple of points. First off, I want everyone in this room to understand that when the general public says the homeless, what they're largely referring to are not the homeless at large, but the people who we have left out on the streets for way too long. After a year of being on our streets, the mental health and physical health damage has become permanent, and they qualify as permanently disabled in large part, which means on average they lose 17 years of their lives. So our system of requiring people to behave better in order to acquire housing, which we don't have, has left us with thousands of people that are now chronically homeless and are likely to never recover fully from the experience. That said, we put a lot of effort to get people with disabilities and people with into permanent supportive housing. we are running into way too many cases of people with mental health disabilities and other physical health disabilities being exited from permanent supportive housing. Permanent. We didn't say permanent with qualifications or requirements. We said permanent. And in fact, we have 2 cases and at Windsor Court up in Carlsbad right now, after we went and fought to keep that facility open, that the largest volume calls have been people with disabilities who have not been adequately served and are calling 911. And those 2 people are being evicted right now. They have 5 days in one case, or they're going to be on the street. We didn't say we're moving you to another facility where you're going to move on and still be housed. No, we are returning you to this exact place where you developed this trauma in large part. So we have got to do better. I don't know how this committee can act on this, but I mean, in these 2 cases, obviously we have failed to provide the support, and this is a facility for people with severe mental illnesses.
Thank you so much for your comments. Your 2 minutes has expired. And I appreciate you being here. Do we have any other non-agenda public comments? No hands up anywhere? Great. All right, thank you so much for those comments. I appreciate it. Bylaws for the committee.
That would be me. We've been working on redrafting and thank you, Susan, for your input. And input from other comments as we discussed these briefly at the last meeting. They're now our goal is my goal, at least working with Todd, is to send these out for a review to the committee in the next say week or so. We have some questions that we're looking into and we're trying to kind of clean up some of the language. It's in the formatting of A74. We found some of it to be a little bit repetitive. So Susan actually, pointed out some areas that it had been, the same thing was said several times because it was kind of a merging of several documents. So we're looking and trying to get all that cleaned up, but this is the latest iteration of it. And then there will be, as a supplement to this, or as the last page would be the standing rules. So the standing rules would be specify how votes are taken, how we go about writing letters to different organizations, whether it's to ask them to follow up on something or whether it's a simple thank you for participating with us. So that's kind of where we are. We get into the details of, how vacancies are filled and what happens if somebody or the chair is not available, then the vice chair, it's all the sort of how we operate as a committee and how we govern ourselves. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Todd.
No, nothing to add.
So it'll be printed up and sent out in the next, let's say, week.
Jeanette, thank you for that hard work. I know that if you would like, you can send it to me and I'll run it through the AI program that I told you about. The only AI corrections, I'm an advocate of using AI when I draft things because I do have a TBI, traumatic brain injury, so it helps me a lot. I'm not cheating, I swear. And I think my only feedback the last time was like a word or something. So you're doing fantastic. Anything else on bylaws? All right, let's go to item number 7 with Jessica.
Thank you. Great job.
You. Oh, me? Yes, all thanks. So excited. I had espresso ahead of time. Should have done that.
Okay, so in this month's Behavioral Health Advisory Board meeting, we received a presentation on taking $10 million from one area, I'm sorry, I forgot. And using that 10 million to build a new crisis stabilization unit in El Cajon. It was described as being, I believe, for 12 to 16 beds. And when I heard the word bed, I had to really work on being a professional member of an advisory board because I felt so upset by it. The crisis stabilization units don't have beds. They are designed and coded to be a 24-hour temporary stay, but our county is using them for 72-hour psychiatric holds. So what you get is a recliner that can't actually recline all the way down, or it would be a bed. Honestly, one more click, I actually sat in one myself to see if it was something somebody could possibly get rest in. And if it went one more click down, you know, it could still be a recliner, not a bed. But at that point, it was not a place where someone would be comfortable to be able to rest for a 3-day period. In the advocacy that we do up in North County, a lot of the people that call them the mobile health crisis response team or are diverted away from jail for legitimate reasons to the crisis stabilization unit. Those people have been sleep deprived. They are nutritionally deprived. Some of them are literally starving. They have had trouble with the, you know, their food benefits and their general relief and different things, stakes in social security, reductions, just whatever happens to people that when you're already that low, any little thing like that literally devastates your ability to be well fed. And even though we do have places to be fed, they are not highly nutritious and don't provide a balanced diet. And so people are sleep deprived, they're hungry, and they're having exhaustion breakdowns that are not necessarily specifically a mental health crisis. They're just really oftentimes a medical crisis. And even though we're trying to divert away from ERs, sometimes the ER is the right place for a person who has medical need. And so there's not a lot of clear communication when people are being taken to the crisis stabilization unit on what they can reasonably expect. So there is an idea upon entering that it's going to be a restful place, there's going to be food provided, and they get there and they find that they're either in a recliner, they ask to be taken out of the recliner, they're put on the floor with a mat thinner than a yoga mat, they have no pillows, there are no pillows allowed. They are woken up every 2 hours under fluorescent lights for checks. And a lot of the ways of responding to this population is very heavy on pharmaceutical. And there have been a lot of areas where Jewish Family Services has been called in because people have asserted their right to either not be medicated or, you know, if they're having a negative experience to a medication, have somebody address that. And there have been a lot of challenges with that. So I actually voted no, and I hope in doing so that I was able to bring a little bit of attention, especially around the idea of calling them beds. And so that was a big topic, and I hope it's something that our group can look at, you know, at times as well. I do know that the CSUs are not operating in alignment with service animal laws either. So when people are diverted from law enforcement, the Humane Society is called. Or if they're MCRT, they have to also call the Humane Society. And so, you know, it's definitely a concern for me if I was ever taken there as a diversion, which would not be in alignment with my safety plan. I feel pretty confident that the practices would be to separate me from my service dog, would create a medical and mental health emergency out of something that is not a mental or medical emergency. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks for that. How can this committee help? How can we help?
Discussion would be great.
Okay,
Yeah.
can we, would you consider finding somebody who represents that space to have them come chat with us? Or is that like?
Todd has Todd has taught me wisdom on this, that we have much to learn from our partners. Perhaps Todd and I could connect and invite a relevant party to share with us, and we could ask questions and engage on that level. But I'd also like to hear from everyone here. I know that we have the ability to write letters to supervisors. You know, we have options that I'm still learning, but any feedback from the team would be appreciated.
Makes sense to me because I don't know, this is new to me hearing about that, so I always love having you here because I always learn 100,000 new things that I'll remember for about 37 seconds. But it makes logical sense because my goal here as chair and a new chair is to be very purposeful in providing advice to our board of supervisors to get things moving. I've never been an advocate of a coffee and donuts meeting because we are all volunteers. So when things like this come up that are really kind of mind-blowing to me, instead of having us just do updates, it seems like what I would love to have is that an action plan. So that the next meeting or the next meeting after that, within a reasonable amount of time, we can readdress this and at least have it in public view for this committee, because we need to start advising the board of supervisors. And if we're going to bring information in, we also have, I would like to make an action plan. So if anybody is interested in calling for somebody help me on this one, helping you or helping us or Todd to find a couple of people within the next couple months, because I don't think there's a person. Next couple people, if you would be interested in contacting whoever those people may be, invite them so that we could figure out how to get this rolling and provide some advice to the board of supervisors on this.
Yeah. I think that the, first of all, there's already a committee. Right? There's a committee dealing with this, that you go to those meetings.
I am appointed to the Behavioral Health Advisory Board.
Right.
It's we have very little time to handle issues, and this is not something that is in the strategic plan.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's not, it's not in their purview, or it's just not something they're looking at, is it? In other words, I wanna be respectful and mindful of other advisory groups that already exist. Certainly, everyone tries to do their due diligence, but there certainly has to be cordial respect.
Yeah, I don't think that you had come to the meeting yet when we put the little check-in about disability rights and behavioral health, but it happened after I became a member of that advisory board, because for a couple of years before that, we had talked many times as a committee about liaisoning with other boards, committees, and commissions, and having a better, communication and be able to support each other on joint issues. And so that was how this developed, and in no way is it meant to be disrespectful for the Behavioral Health Advisory Board. It is an incredible board, a busy board, and the hope is that not just this committee, but other boards, committees, and commissions that are, working on similar issues with similar populations, that we could be complementary.
Excellent, that would be where I would really want to go, and I am certainly a new member, that we collaborate and move things forward together. So we're united, because the disability community in my work has been very fractured for a very, very, very long time and siloed. So there's this disability, there's this, and we fight for dollars, which is pathetic, but true. And so I'm wondering about the funding source. I wondered about the amount of money and the amount of people cared for that amount of money. when I read just a brief overview. So there's a lot of moving pieces and policy as well. So I'm confused about how we would incorporate and not trudge over people, but get valuable information. And I don't know, I don't have an answer for that.
Anything that you can contribute along the way would be deeply appreciated.
I'll do my best.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, and to your point, it is there's a lot of, at least at the county level, there are a lot of departments that have responsibility around serving and providing services and programs to people with disabilities. And then, of course, there are a lot of different community-based organizations that are working in that effort. I think a good point that you are bringing up, Sue, is to collaborate and how best can we collaborate across departments as well as boards, commissions, and committees, the community advisory groups. I don't have the answer, but I do know that our Aging and Independence Services Department is where the county's focus on programs, services, and activities lies, and that's within Health and Human Services. I have I'll do it later in the new business and future agenda items. We have a speaker who's coming from the in-home supportive services area. But I think that what we're hearing is we have challenges around public safety as it relates with people with disabilities, as well as Health and Human Services in our programming. But within Health and Human Services, we have the social services offerings through eligibility and self-sufficiency services, as well as areas such as sheriff with certain type of, from a public safety perspective. So it is there are a lot of moving parts and pieces. And how do we collaborate all of those? Maybe this committee, although small but mighty, maybe this committee can be a central point, a clearinghouse, if you will, of that information.
Well, resources is critical. I think that's a great idea. I love the word clearinghouse. And I think that it's perhaps beyond our capacity. I think you have know all about the county parts, which is excellent. Because that alone, since we're a county advisory board, we can work with any department, I believe, and receive information and make an effort. How would you propose to be that collaborative clearinghouse, Todd, if I heard your words correctly on this issue?
Well,
And that would have to be, we'd have to have stuff funneled in.
yeah, and what I'm looking at is the fact that this committee has recognized the need to at least consolidate information, or to be not that this committee would answer phones and be, now we have 211 to handle that as from a clearinghouse of resources.
Yes.
But to really be able to voice, and maybe it could be a letter to the Board of Supervisors to propose what type of clearinghouse resources could be provided, but to look at the fact that there are so many different parts that as it relates to people with disabilities. So of course, all of those departments within the county serve people with and without disabilities.
Thank you for that. So I feel like I'm going to always ask an action item on some of the agenda items. Not to place anybody in a position where you feel like I'm telling you to do something, but where your passion is going to pick up for us. For agenda item number 7. And if you don't feel like you all are fantastic and I appreciate you all being here. Does anybody have an action item for agenda 7?
Okay, real quick, I believe that the ADA request form for IHSS is continuing forward with having someone from IHSS coming to speak with us. So that's a current happening action item. The qualifying and disability checklist.
You got this.
I know, thank you.
Welcome.
I was about to start apologizing, but I caught myself.
No, don't do that.
Thank you. I cannot remember what I said I would, where I'm at with that. If anybody has any idea from last meeting where I said, or I'm sure I was supposed to do something.
So let's alleviate you from that. You'll circle back around and figure that. So as we move forward, I would hope that everybody would consider that at the end of each of these agenda items is to consider your own action item. And so that we could be small and mighty like we are. So if we don't have an action item today, totally okay.
I think we do. I think it had something to do with me providing a rough draft. And I'm wondering if I could ask some support from my team and our staff to remind me. Yeah.
Well, I have 2 things. One is what I heard at the last meeting was you were gonna get together with Carolyn and do some talking points.
Sorry, we're laughing because we both confessed to having.
Completely forgot.
So,
Yeah.
so you can't do that anymore.
Yes, ma'am. I know.
Well, I can be very unruly and I'm not gonna get into that role right now. But I am going to say, so that's on you, I'm sorry, but it continues to be, and you guys are capable.
Thank you.
I would like to do what Todd said. I think letters are powerful. I think the Board of Supervisors needs to know we're still alive and kicking. And we're pushing for a new, certainly missed members from their districts that need to be appointed. I know that's hard and they have a lot of other things on their plate. However, I think it's good to raise awareness, good to say thank you, good to say, hey, we're here, and great to say, we see a need. I don't do these letters anymore. And we would love to have input and coordination in order to collaborate with other county departments, programs, services, and community-based organizations for a unified advisory piece on this critical issue.
Is there a motion?
Anybody? Yeah.
It's a motion. I move that we send a letter with that kind of language to the Board of Supervisors. There has to be a second and then conversation if you need it.
Second,
Do you have any conversation on this?
yes, can you please say it again?
And your
Katie
dream
may
program.
be able to help us with that.
And I need her.
Yeah, so you actually unfortunately have to. do a
Just
motion
restate.
in your verbiage.
Restate them.
Katie got it.
I wasn't writing it down because it wasn't a motion yet.
You got this.
I move that this advisory board send a letter to the Board of Supervisors. That re-indicates our role as an advisory group. A committee for persons with disabilities, all ages. Of the recent identified need for better coordination among all the county departments and programs and services that deal with
People with disabilities?
okay.
Can we put a highlight on people with behavioral health disabilities, doing a 2-in-1 there where we're addressing the behavioral health while also making ourselves relevant? Or is that?
If you want it, you have to put in, I think, behavioral health issues if you want to focus just on that. People with disabilities is broad, that would be more like an introductory letter, like, hey, we're here and this is our role. But I thought we were dealing with behavioral health issues as well.
I just think that when people think of people with disabilities, it's like we talked about once, when I do presentations and I ask the audience, please share what your knowledge of physical or medical disability reasonable accommodations would be, and they're just throwing them out left and right. And then I say, could you throw out some examples of how to accommodate a person with a behavioral health disability, whether substance use or mental health? And it takes a while for people to respond, and usually the response comes from one person who's pretty educated in the group. And so just saying disabilities and then adding, including behavioral health disabilities helps clarify the work
Yeah.
we're doing.
So let's do that, Katie, that it's people with disabilities, particularly those with behavioral health issues. I think I have to note out loud here that we don't even have unified language around this. There's mental health issues, mental health disabilities, behavioral health issues. I mean, it's a very potpourri for me,
Yes, and I think.
which I think is indicative of the issue.
I couldn't agree more.
Side note, sorry, motion. Can you tell me where I'm at, please?
What I have is a motion was made for the committee to send a letter to the Board of Supervisors that indicates their role as an advisory committee for persons with disabilities of the recent identified need for better coordination amongst all county departments, programs, and services that support people with disabilities, particularly those with behavioral health disabilities.
And
Wow.
okay, in order to enhance the more effective coordination and collaboration among all the county departments and programs, as well as the many community-based organizations, we would love your help, advice, assistance,
Help.
Well, that'll be in the letter itself. So
yeah.
this is just a motion to bring.
So it's a motion and that's, yeah, I'm over, that's it. Over now. Time for,
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstains? Motion passes. Great job. Thank you.
And then one last response to the action items, for SB 43 behavioral health. Perhaps we could ask the behavioral health services community engagement coordinator to come and speak at one of our future meetings. That way we could work on how to collaborate and engage around SB 43.
So there's no limit to the motions these days.
Okay.
So if you feel like that is a thing, like I said, you know me well enough now, I like action items, so if
Right.
you're gonna add another
I'm
one.
responding to your request. Yes, I make a motion to invite the behavioral health services community engagement coordinator to visit us at the Committee for Persons with Disabilities so that we can further engage on SB 43.
Do you have who that person is?
I don't want to embarrass myself, but I think her name is Kat. But I can get back to you. I may have embarrassed myself.
Nope, yeah,
Now I want to ask, does that fit with this letter that we're sending to the Board of Supervisors about coordination effort? That's they're part of the link.
I would say this is a separate action item.
Okay,
Yeah, continuing.
thank you.
Yes, an ongoing item about SB 43, we can turn it into an action item by inviting, and also in alignment with you said about collaborating, coordinating, the person we can ask to come speak to us about SB 43 could, well, moving forward, if you do this motion, the community engagement specialist from behavioral health services.
Well, in expanding ideas, I'm just gonna put forward an idea if you don't mind here.
just 1 second, so we have, is it discussion on her motion?
It's discussion on your suggestion.
Okay.
Is it a motion?
I was trying to make one.
Oh,
That's
I'll.
why I didn't want to interrupt you.
I can wait then for a motion.
Okay,
Okay,
I didn't want to
motion
interrupt.
and then discussion,
Yes,
Yes.
I have discussion.
right, so, did I make my motion okay?
Are you able to state what you have, Katie?
I'm just gonna need you to finish the last couple words. A motion was made to invite the Behavioral Health Services Community Coordinator to attend a committee meeting to engage.
Community engagement coordinator to
Attend a committee member
attend a committee for persons with disabilities meeting in order to engage about SB 43.
Enhance our learning.
To enhance our learning on SB 43.
So I sent several resources about SB 43 out to the board, to the members, committee members, so that you have the ability to get a baseline understanding from the district attorney, from I believe it was public defender's office. There were several different
Legal rights.
yes, from three different organizations. Is this above and beyond getting that information? And if so, could we provide them with some particular questions that we'd like to hear?
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Where I am suggesting we could go with this, in alignment with our better collaborating and coordinating, is more specifically around how can we respectfully be working with the Behavioral Health Advisory Board on any ways that they're addressing. I think there's supposed to be SB 43 and Care Corps. Behavioral health, we're kind of discussing both in a similar, under kind of a similar category. But with this, there's a real need for more diverse stakeholder engagement in the SB 43 stakeholder meetings. And If we heard from Kat, I think we could come up with action for potentially better collaboration around any items we might be able to work on together, or write a board of supervisors letter together. As well as, I know that Behavioral Health Advisory Board, I believe this person is part of the process in getting more diverse stakeholder involvement around these issues. And I think that that's very important for us.
Okay, I've got, how can the Committee for Persons with Disabilities work with the Behavioral Health Advisory Board regarding care court?
And SB 43. And but not just with the Behavioral Health Advisory Board, but also through the County Board of Supervisors being involved in the stakeholder meetings, because the stakeholder meetings are very by invite only, and there are, to the best of my knowledge, only 3 lived experience people on not only the main stakeholder group, but also the subcommittee breakout groups, which there are 4 of. And so there's been a lot of discussion about how to get by various parties involved in this SB 43 care court
So it's almost like
rollout.
either if we can help somebody fill the gap, or if we can work on something that they need help with.
It's like maybe we could get more engaged as a committee, maybe somebody on the committee or somebody in the community might learn from our committee, you know, maybe our county board of supervisors might reach out to us and say, we definitely want more lived experience, we definitely want more people with disabilities engaged in the stakeholder process. We have 6-7 months left before rollout. Those are where, so any way you can help organize that. Or am I?
No, these are kind of complicated things that we're getting into, so we're gonna have to fish them out, and that's all we're doing.
Yeah.
So you're doing great.
Okay, yeah, so what I was trying to do was make a motion for an action item to get the Behavioral Health Services Community Engagement Coordinator to engage with us about how we can be more collaborative with the Behavioral Health Advisory Board on behalf of our supervisors in SB 43 and care court meetings around SB 43 care court and other behavioral health services priorities.
We'll investigate what we can, how we can.
So we already have a motion.
Yes, well, we don't have a motion, because nobody seconded it. And so technically, I believe that's the rules. I could be wrong.
You're totally right. We just haven't. Yeah.
So really, what we've done is the cart before the horse, which is have the discussion before the second, because I think there's, so I'll second it, and then I'll just continue what I wanted to input, if you could. I think that what I wanted to know was long term, can we jump to a broader meeting instead of one person at a time that feels grilled and then they go away and we go, have more of the partners together and have a meeting that is long, maybe an hour and a half with panelists, let's say, where we have a gathering of the, wow, well, that seems like what you're doing, and how does that fit? And there's interaction that doesn't happen from one person that comes in and does a prepared shtick, and then there's input.
So
why we have you.
wonderful, yes.
Yeah, I
We've always
underlined
wanted that.
panelist.
Yeah.
Well, why haven't you done it? Time's a wasting. I don't think anybody's gonna give us permission. I think we just have to do it. But I think we want to do it in coordination with the board, obviously, the county board of supervisors. And the letter, I think, is a lead into that. And then, we could even say that if we coordinate that, Todd, however that timing is, so that they know a little bit about what we're doing. And then they could have an idea around it. That's all, that's all.
Because there are, there are community outreach opportunities for the committee members as well as to go in my mass to hear about these different things. There's also, and I was gonna bring it up later on, but there's the Live Well Advance Conference that I know they're gonna be doing some outreach for program ideas. And they are gonna be asking this committee to review the accessibility of that outreach for program ideas and also for program ideas that the committee may have. This would be a broad community event. It's at the convention center. It's scheduled in November. And I think that would be a great opportunity for some collaboration, if you will. But the reason why I said I can take that off is I think I can get with Jessica on framing up what the outreach would be to the behavioral health services community outreach team and make a determination as to what makes sense for them to come and bring to the committee. But I didn't want to go out of order with the current motion and second.
And when Todd and I do that, we will consider what you said about who our panelists may be, because rather than just having one person come and talk to us and then we can pick a few people and then try to do the scheduling.
What I was gonna speak to you about was the behavioral health services outreach, community outreach, to have them come and speak. To do a panel will be a different type of activity because you're trying to hear about Care Court and SB 43, correct?
1 second. Yes, I got it. I'm just organizing. I can see how having the community engagement person from BHS with, say, Mike Phillips from Jewish Family Services and somebody from the county for Care Court, and I could see how that could work to cover both our mission and our actions in one, because I think what I heard Sue saying is rather than have just one person come out. Yeah, I mean, I think, are we in agreement that we want to have more than just the community engagement BHS person come out, or do we want to do a BHS engagement around engaging with the community and engagement specialist from BHS and then have some type of panel group? I mean, I see they can be together or separate, so I'm gonna defer to my fellow committee members.
For the behavioral health coordinator, was that? I sort of got lost a little bit. Is that somebody from the behavioral health committee you're on, or is that somebody different?
She is a regular, she is, I think, there for every behavioral health advisory meeting, and she is currently extra engaged because the Behavioral Health Advisory Board is also working on lived experience, stakeholder, and better collaboration and coordination. So, she is a staff person for the county that is almost always at the Behavioral Health Advisory Board meeting,
That you attend, that you are a member of.
once a month, first Thursday.
Excuse me, I would like to ask a question, but I don't know when's the right time to ask this question. I'm new.
What's that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. I noticed that Mr. John Brady talked about homelessness, and we talked about disabilities and people with behavioral health. And we're going to ask the county, the supervisors, to provide guidance. I think we should provide that guidance. And that guidance should be that we should create an ad hoc temporary team, because homelessness, disability, and behavioral health, they all go hand in hand. You can't separate them from the other. And if we propose that, it doesn't have to be a permanent position. And I looked at all of the boards and commission positions. None of it, no one, there's nothing in accounting for homelessness, and it's a big issue. So maybe in the next meeting we can put that on the agenda and talk about that, because everything is siloed, right? We have behavioral health guys, and now we're asking them to join meetings, 6 weeks out, 2 weeks, 2 months out, and it's a waste of time. We might as well create an ad hoc team, propose that to this board of supervisors, and we can solve problems a lot faster. Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it.
I do feel like the amount of time we have in between our meetings without having like subcommittees or ad hoc committees, I do find it challenging. I would like for us to be more in communication during the week, and not, not kind of separated, just chatting with one person here or there, but something a little bit more organized. Leonard, are you applying for the Committee for Persons with Disabilities?
Yes, I did through District 1.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. I might have already known that. I'm so excited to have you here, and thank you for being here and participating.
Thank you for having me.
So because this is literally my first day, and I have been on other committees that do ad hocs and whatnot, I'm gonna defer to Todd or somebody for guidance on, because that's a great idea. But I'm not sure that we have enough people here yet, because the workload between the four of us is I know how some of your workload is. My workload's pretty smashed. So I absolutely want ad hocs. Like I said, I will be a repetitive action item request chair, so I'm all for it. I just reached, in reality, I'm not sure that we have enough people on this board yet, so that's why we're excited to have you come on. So don't think that I'm discounting what you're saying, it's very important. I just don't want to task our very small board with a big task like that is really important.
Leonard hasn't been appointed yet.
I realize
Yeah,
that,
okay.
yeah. So that's why I wasn't saying him, I was saying the folks that are here.
Right.
There's just, we're too, like I said, I don't want you to think I'm discounting it, because I'm absolutely not. We're just too small, because we've had people leave within the last 2 or 3 meetings, and we need to get our force back for these really important action items that I personally want to have moved forward. So I hear you, I appreciate it, absolutely. We just, we need more people on this board, and once we get that up and running, then we're gonna ad hoc our way to great things.
Just as a point of clarification, since I've been knee deep in the bylaws, would this fall under creation of a subcommittee that would then need to have open meetings that were duly noted, et cetera, so they would fall maybe 2 weeks after our regular meeting and 2 weeks before, kind of an interim in between?
That is correct.
And just for edification for those who are on the call, myself and my vice chair here, we're already on double meetings for this committee to prepare for this committee. So that really leaves us with two fabulous folks left on this committee to be tasked with those things. And so that's why at this time, unless anybody is, has a superhuman cape on and wants to begin an ad hoc, we just need more people.
I think we have a motion and a second that is outstanding.
Do you need to read the motion again for record?
I think I know what it is, but I think what we were discussing was, do we want to try to organize a panel, or do we want to invite the community engagement behavioral health services?
I think at this point, because I'm very supportive of a live well involvement. I think that's powerful. I think that's a place we can pull something off. We need a lot of time, which we have, it's November. And so I think that if we're gonna do one thing, I think we should focus on a panel for that. And I think that personally, we should just, so we're not biting off more than we can chew, bring the engagement coordinator here. Since we all later though, because we've already scheduled an IHSS person for the next meeting.
Yes,
Okay, so now that person could come June maybe, right?
Yeah, I just want everyone to know though that we do have, if we want to be involved more in the SB 43 conversation, there is a time deadline because the supervisors, there is absolutely no question that the 3 months leading up to January 2025 will be basically implementing. And so we have 9 months of readiness, and I think like October, we might already be like 5-6 months in, so we maybe have 3 months to actually get involved before it's gonna be implemented.
Thank you. So let's, we have a motion, we have a second, so I'm going to move forward. So all those in favor of Katie's motion, say aye.
Katie,
Oh, Jessica, oh my God.
well, do we want to have a restatement of the motion that is on the record?
So the motion before the discussion of the panel was, a motion was made to invite the Behavioral Health Services Community Engagement Coordinator to attend the committee meeting to engage and enhance the committee's learning on SB 43 and care for.
That's the motion that is
Yes, yes.
getting ready to be voted on.
Yes, okay, so I do think that that will be a very fast way to get involved, and I think we should move forward with that. I don't know if it's too soon to try to do for the May meeting.
But do we have a second on that?
Oh, sorry.
We have a second.
Yes, we have a second.
We have
so
a-
we should second.
We have a
Okay, vote.
motion and a second, and we're now trying to get
Okay,
a
so-
vote.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstains? Motion carries. That sounds official when I say it.
So the attempt to, what we need to do is figure out who the person is and then see what their schedule is, and how, what they're able to do as it relates to meetings. Now, I will say that, recognizing that the timing is tight, this committee, the members of this committee do not have to wait for a committee for persons with disabilities meeting to actually get involved in the outreach that we've got for any activity or any items. So just understand that you don't have to wait for the monthly meeting in order to get involved with these concerns.
Yes.
I think the one thing that is important to remember on that is that if that is going to be done, and if I'm out of step, go ahead and say it, but if that's gonna be done, it's on behalf of the individual who's on the committee, so we wanna be very clear that nobody is saying this is, if somebody is going, this is how the committee feels, so I think everybody knows that, but I'm just stating that for record.
Is it kosher to say, I am so-and-so from so-and-so, I'm also on the, but I'm not calling on behalf of the?
Yeah, you're an individual and that's one of the boards you serve on, so I would absolutely,
Thanks.
100%. Okay, let's move to, thanks, everybody. So let's move to action item 9, ethics awareness fair debrief.
Well, actually, the action plan items for focus areas were next, but it sounds like we were working with behavioral health services for people with disabilities. And then we also had public safety and accessible housing. I didn't know if there were.
I totally forgot to put my glasses on at the right point in time, so I skipped to 9, so let's go backwards, sorry about that. So action item 8, I should put my glasses on. Action items for focus area for behavioral health services for people with disabilities.
I think we just addressed
We
that.
just did all that.
Yeah.
I'm just catching up.
Public safety and people with disabilities.
Yes, that is the work we've been doing with the sheriffs and the district attorney's office.
Do we have any ad for that? Do we have any ad or action items for these?
Yeah, we are supposed to be doing a DA follow-up.
Summer Steffens.
Yeah, we're supposed to basically respond to the things that we were gonna respond to in January. I'm sorry, Todd, you should take the lead on this. I shouldn't say what we're doing. Sorry. Sorry.
Actually, no, go right ahead.
I'm doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we want to give feedback on potentially, for the final draft, which we hope to see issued, on the Elder Independent Adult 2018 blueprint. We're hoping for a 2024 launch that includes the language senior and disability victimization as well. As one of the photos that's kind of ambiguous right now, potentially being a person experiencing homelessness. And we're working in coordination with them around this basic checklist that the average patrol person or average prosecutor could look at to very easily identify if a person qualifies for protection under the senior and disability victimization policies and penal codes. I think that is it. And then after we responded to them, we were gonna invite somebody from the office back here to continue the collaborative engagement.
So was there supposed to be a response letter indicating what you just said that our wants are?
Outstanding is, there was a proposal for an appreciation letter for the district attorney. And then there was we were gathering questions from the committee members as to what you'd like to hear in a follow-up from the district attorney's office.
How about we just do one thing at a time and just do a letter of thank you and then reiterating our positions.
Yes, so we can do an appreciation letter and our feedback together.
I say yes.
I'm into that.
Motion.
I make a motion to action item, public safety and people with disabilities. To send our letter of appreciation along with our follow-up. Guide feedback, where we had left off with the district attorneys the last time, and then the next step we will make in a different, motion. Cancel the last few words, period.
we just have to finish it. A motion was made to write a letter of appreciation to the district attorney, including the committee's feedback
On the meeting we had with Summer Stefan, their follow-up to that meeting. Our response. Sorry. Okay, one more time, read it one more time.
A motion was made to write a letter of appreciation to the district attorney, along with the committee's feedback on the meeting with Summer Stephens, their follow-up.
On the meeting with Summer Stefan and our recommendations. Oh, thank you, Susan.
So motion was made to write a letter of appreciation to the district attorney, along with the committee's feedback on the meeting with Summer Stephens and the committee's recommendations.
Yes.
I second. I didn't know I can second, that's why I was waiting for everybody else, so I had to defer to my fantastic vice chair here, so I second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstains? Motion passes.
Now, who will be working on that letter?
I had originally offered to work with Jessica on it. We just need to find a time to talk or meet for coffee or.
Great,
We're gonna be busy.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll send you a text. You to get us started.
I forgot to text you, that's why we forgot about it. We're gonna move on to agenda item number 9, so thank you for.
Well, actually, there was accessible housing, sorry.
I'm sorry. And
Under
I told
action
my
plan.
classes and I have no excuse. Action.
And quite frankly, these were the focus areas that the committee had determined a few months ago, several months ago for the year.
All right, so how about agenda item 8, accessible housing?
There are some activities and initiatives that are going on right now on a regular basis with affordable housing and the housing blueprint. So I can share the latest with the committee, and then the committee can determine any action items that would make sense.
That'd be great. And as when you say share, are you just gonna send it out via email?
I'll send it via email, the latest initiatives because they have been looking for input on the housing blueprint.
Has this committee historically ever provided feedback for that?
Yes, there were presentations that the committee received and provided input to the departments that are managing the housing blueprint.
Do you know how long ago about that was? So that we can look at that as individuals to see what this committee has done to that point?
I can send
That'd be great.
a link.
I want to say the meeting I attended was in November, I think.
And
Well, I
yeah,
didn't realize I was gonna need to talk.
yeah, and if I remember correctly, Michelle had brought it to our attention because she saw that there was not any accessibility in that blueprint at that time.
And then I think we just didn't, it's,
It's just a lot.
Yeah. yeah. Okay.
So then. I just would like to know, like, so then you send it out, because you've already sent out the blueprint once. And I read it and then okay, interesting read, I certainly like reading it. But it's long, and I'm wondering if I wonder if it's good for all the members of this committee to receive things like that. And then the anticipated want, I mean, you're pretty clear about things, Todd, any follow-up questions? and then you send it out again. Any follow-up questions? So, but I don't have any, sorry, and I don't know if I should automatically respond, which means I got it and I didn't have any. Or what kind of some people are better at receiving things visually, some are better auditory, some are best both.
And I am at a loss this year, definitely with having very difficult screen time vision issues. Like I'm so lost this year. Yeah, and I request maybe an accommodation from staff to maybe read some stuff to me. We can do that. So I know I called last minute today because I was like, oh, I can't read these emails. And then I feel disconnected.
Or the committee, if the committee would like to, without doing business, making decisions, if there is any interaction that, you know, from a communication standpoint, that's an opportunity as well.
Yeah, so for me, I'm probably just like YouTube perhaps, and maybe even you, I have to tangibly have it in my hands and read it. Because if it's an email, I'm like, okay, that's great, and then I click out and I completely forgot if I ate breakfast. So email, better communication between us, or not just that, but maybe a printout provided.
Well, I'm anticipating that if we want to comment on it, which it seems like we should, since we have before, and they're wanting that it's a golden opportunity. And I'm wondering if we would get more bang for our buck if somebody gave us a debriefing on it and had a PowerPoint and went da bing, da bang, and we had printouts of stuff, and then we could digest it and then make, you know, sometimes people are better together, and then they, you know, you enhance well, what about this or what about that? So I'm wondering if that's a more effective way to deal with that housing blueprint.
Well, because without going onto the engagement center and seeing what's up at this point, my proposal is for me to be able to share if there are opportunities to provide input, maybe in person, et cetera. So that's really what I was going to share with the committee, is what is the latest status of the housing blueprint? Because there is an engagement center, and they've provided provided me, and I've shared it with the committee, but they have updated and they have different sessions, et cetera. So if reading is not available, then you would be able to reach out to the housing blueprint team and see what type of interaction there is.
So can we, and this may be an over ask and we may not need it, but can we get somebody from that housing blueprint team to come present to us? Have we not had that before?
We did have that.
We did,
We
okay.
did early on.
A while ago.
Yeah, it was.
Do we need a refresher?
So what I'm proposing is for me to look at the engagement center and then be able to share what the latest activities are, and then for the committee to determine an action item at that point.
Perfect.
Yes, and I think that we could also, just so I don't forget, I think we could also find a way with accessible housing after next month, perhaps integrating some of the things that John Brady brought up around permanent supportive housing and people with disabilities losing their permanent supportive housing because of disability related issues.
So I think Todd's gonna provide us some great issues that'll maybe catapult us into being able to articulate maybe what we have questions about that we can help with.
Yes, I not 100% sure, but I don't think that they exactly intersect. Because I read the housing blueprint and it's really not addressing people with disabilities at all. It has no accessibility in it, which is an issue. Well, okay, so yes, we can use that to identify ways to support people losing their housing because of disability related lack of accommodations or symptoms.
And that would actually give us a perfect time to either craft letters or create action items after whatever Todd's gonna present, and then we can discuss it like that.
Yep. Receive a presentation and then use that opportunity to give recommendations. That's.
You're my right.
So what I'm proposing to do is to review the Housing Blueprint Engagement Center to see what opportunities there are for the committee to be involved and to provide input. And then the committee can determine what action items would make sense.
I feel like we're gonna that's gonna take like multiple meetings, so I wonder if we can. Do that and invite somebody to speak to us.
What would you like for them to answer? What questions would you like for them to
It's just been so
answer?
long since, none of us seem to really have it fresh on our mind. And we all seem to have different learning styles and different need for accommodation. So it seems like we, as committee members, could benefit from receiving a presentation during a meeting that doesn't have us have to do tasks outside of the meeting, since we seem to be struggling with how much stuff we can do outside of the meeting.
Because we're so small right now.
Yeah, and also each one of us has our own limitations.
But when your presentation or your synthesis of the information, I think we should get that and then determine if one of the action follow-up items to that is to have somebody come back and speak.
I'm just wondering, how are we all going to, because we've just expressed that in between meetings, we don't have the ability to do that much. And then we're also challenged with actually receiving and processing and holding on to the information. So is this gonna be like Todd gives us an awesome Todd presentation to kind of help us all learn more effectively to be engaged on this topic?
Could you give us a briefing at the next meeting on the blueprint and the latest and greatest?
What I would prefer to do is to have you speak with the experts. So that you can, we're coming to 30 minutes left in the meeting, just from a time check. But I am proposing to review what the status is on the Housing Blueprint Engagement Center, and then be able to share that with the committee. And then have the committee make a determination as to what action items make sense for the committee.
So can it be so if we want to do our own action items, can we do it at that meeting? So it's posted as an agenda item, or we can take action on it?
We're going to be talking about future agenda items in a couple of moments, but yes. So we do have a couple of people that one dropped off, but Mary McKenzie is one of has applied for the committee, and she has dialed on. And then I also saw a Phyllis that was on dialed in.
Is Phyllis applied?
I have no idea.
All right, so in fairness of time, thank you for your help with that, Todd. So let's move on to agenda item 9, ethics awareness fair debrief. And be brief.
So if you wanted, the chair and vice chair represented the committee at the ethics awareness fair. Was that March 31st? No,
I think so.
something like that. March, yeah, at the end of March, and wanted to give you all an opportunity to speak about any your experiences there.
So I thought it was kind of fantastic. So thank you, Todd, for the invitation, and our booth was small and mighty. And what I thought was interesting is my first question was, why are there not more advisory committees at this event? Because we were the only one. So it actually benefited us because we were the only talk of the town for an advisory board of those that were in attendance to come by. So the fact that nobody else, none of the other advisory committees showed up probably was a good thing. But hopefully in the future, like the Military and Veterans Advisory Council, all these other advisory councils, hopefully they will show up. I had a great opportunity. Todd said, hey, there's one of the supervisors. We need to talk to this person. And of course, me being me, I kind of dragged him along and had him introduce and re-engaged that new board of supervisor. Forgive me, and I have Monica, thank you. Engaged Monica to entice her to consider appointing members for this board, and she said she was on it. Of course, she was quite busy because she's new. But all in all, I think it was a great event. We had some ideas for future event, table with Persons with Disabilities Committee on it, on the what's the word? Tablecloth, thank you. So it was a great opportunity. Todd, thank you for your help on crafting the takeaway paper that was at the booth. We had quite a few people take that document. It had a QR code, not just about the committee, but also if you want to be a board member. Oh, by the way, here you go. And we were giving them out like Halloween candy. Also, Todd, both you, Katie, Todd, your questions made it a very interactive. So without that, it would have been pretty boring for people just passing by. So you killed it. I appreciate it. I appreciate what you did. I hope that in the future, other folks rotate out and come to this event.
No, I will agree. It was a very fun event. It was very well organized. I think the questions, people were really engaged with the questions. We gave them a piece of candy if they got it wrong and 2 pieces of candy if they got it right.
We were the talk of.
And they, you know, and as with all of events like this, you can tell the people who are really interested and engaged, and you can tell people that just want to walk by really fast and get the swag. But we had more of the former, so we had more of the people who were, oh, I didn't know this committee existed. Oh, really, that's that ADA question, that's really interesting, and they really like connected with and talked with us for longer than 7 seconds. So it was really, I think it was really well done.
Thank you. And then following up on that, it's budget time. So the committee, given if the committee is interested in exhibiting more, let's say at the Live Well Advance as well as at the Live Well 5K, that I think that comes up in September. The Live Well 5K is a 5,000 meter run, but there are booth availability as well. If there are materials that the committee would like to consider having, instead of having a white tablecloth, you could have a tablecloth with Committee for Persons with Disabilities, maybe the county logo, etc.
So my ask for everybody here as a whole, for this board as a whole, and if my ask isn't applicable or it doesn't belong in this slot, just tell me. But for the budgetary request for this board, I would respectfully request name badges, potential business cards, so that each of us as individuals are again, not speaking on behalf of the committee if we individually go to an event, but we also have a card that will enable us to let anybody wherever we're going into remember that we were there. And I think that's something we can't do at this point. So we have interactions at different events, not speaking on behalf of the board, but certainly speaking as a board member, and it would behoove us to start getting some business cards, and whatever anybody wants it to say or whatnot, but I think that's important. And I think the name on every advisory board I've ever been on, we've had just, you know, the pretty simple chair, vice chair, open member, whatever, et cetera. I think that's really important. So then you're not just walking around an event as a event person or an attendee, you're actually there where somebody can engage with you. Oh, you're on this, I didn't even know about this, right? So I would request for your budgetary requests for name badges for each individual on the board and business cards for those who are interested. And then, of course, the tablecloth that we can decide what the colors and schemes, whatever, for this committee, because as chair, and I know vice chair feels probably the same, our interaction is super important because the feedback that we got from the event we went to. Oh, I didn't even know. 90% of the people that walked past us, they said the same exact thing. I didn't even know. And that is just a small snippet of San Diego folks that we need to expose ourselves to as a committee. So with that, tell me yes or no.
I also love the business card idea, and if we could have the meeting info and link on there, because so many people communicate via email and share the links around, and now that I'm not able to do that, it is affecting my ability to let people know about this meeting. And certainly if in my daily life I could hand people a card with the link, that would be just incredible.
The QR code that Todd added on the paper, totally awesome.
Yeah, can't just be a QR code though.
Right,
Yeah, it
yeah.
has to be all of the above.
Right, because of accessibility.
Yeah.
So anybody else at this point know or think of something that is a gap that in his budgetary, we could request? But those were the main things that I think are going to be helpful for all of us. Going, gone.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move to the 10
Committee.
exhibit, no, mileage.
Committee structure.
Okay, good. I had that little dash item and then on the other dash item, I forgot. Agenda item 11, committee structure. We have vacancies. We have 2 vacancies at D1. We have 1 vacancy at D2, 1 vacancy at D3. Oh, that's a hard word to say. 2 vacancies D4, 1 vacancy D5. Okay.
And we
Yes.
have applications.
And we do have applications, and for those of you that are on,
We need more.
we need more, yeah.
We need more, lots more applications.
And to my Army veteran Green Beret little guy up there, my expectations are quite high for you. Because you and I probably chewed on the same dirt and been in the same places. I was in Iraq too. So it would be great if each one of you that is on the call can expand your net and network and let them know that we have many seats to fill, because we again would like ad hocs and really getting things done. We're great that we're small and mighty, but we need to be big and powerful. So please help us get those seats filled with your reputable, fantastic networks that will do good. That's all I have for that one. Anybody else?
And then as well, if the committee members would be able to reach out to your district supervisor's office to let them know which, or that there are vacancies and the need to, it would be great to have 11.
Can we real quick go over, if we have applicants, how many and who they are for 3 and 5?
We
Districts 3 and
do
5.
not have any.
No applicants.
Okay.
And then, we have 1 applicant, D1, 1 applicant.
Well, so Leonard is an applicant for D1, and then Mary McKenzie. Would you like Mary to
Yes.
say anything? Mary, are you at a point where you could introduce yourself? We did introductions before you came on. Looks like you're muted.
Yeah, no, thank you. I just happened upon your email just now, Todd, so that's why I entered the discussion a little late. I'm Mary McKenzie. I'm in the 4th district. I guess I've had my application in a little bit. I am a semi-retired professor of political science at USD. I live in Hillcrest. I am disabled. I have rheumatoid arthritis that I've had my entire life. And am also on the Uptown Planners, which may or may not cease to exist in May, but that's a whole different story. And I have tried to be a champion for accessibility in our discussions on the planners, because in all of the plans that we're working on, which is community update plans that are going on, like the Hillcrest plan update is going on. As you were talking about earlier, the housing update is going on. The park update, I believe, is still in progress. So there are a lot of opportunities for, I think, for the disabled community to have an impact, but it's not easy. I'm going to use your mighty and small, if you don't mind, because it's harder to break. It's hard to break into, but it's very important, especially during all these plans that are going on under the current administration. I'm happy to answer any questions you all have, if you would like.
Mary, we're happy to have you here. Any questions?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all too.
Yeah, real quick, one of you guys is D1 and D2, D4. D1, D4?
I'm Joel Anderson.
1,
3.
4?
I'm 3.
Okay,
I'm like, what number?
great. So could you reach out to Mr. Anderson?
Yeah.
D1 is actually
Norbergs.
Norbergs.
Oh,
No, sorry. You put me on the spot. I was
No,
like,
seriously, Michelle tutored me in this and she had me like on it and now it's gone again. So I need to call Michelle for another tutoring session. But who are we hoping from this group can reach out about either Leonard or Mary? To our
Well, it's
supervisors?
actually not
It's not.
appropriate for you to reach out about a particular person,
Oh,
but to reach out to all the supervisors, because all the supervisors have vacancies.
okay.
So the goal is for supervisors. Yeah, I won't do it. But the goal is for supervisors to look in their areas, their districts, and to encourage people to apply.
Is
for
it
their,
appropriate for the board to write a letter to scoot them along? Kindly? Like, is that like a normal thing that the board would send a letter to the board of supervisors? Hey, we want to be here for you.
I'm hoping that some
Okay.
phone calls. Well, I guess what I actually ask is for this action or for this topic, for the board to actually look at what action items might be valuable to get supervisors to make their appointments.
So I don't know if I can do this or not, but I'd really like to make a motion that we craft a letter to the Board of Supervisors as a committee. Politely and respectfully reminding them that the vacancies within their district would be best served to have them look for candidates to fill so that we can fulfill our duties to them.
How about we add that to our board letter that we already promoted?
Can we do that?
Yes,
Those-
you can make a motion to add it to the.
I make
to
a
the
motion
board
that we
letter.
add all of that to our letter, so that we're not replicating and causing too much work for our fantastic staff here.
I think that's good. I would say it doesn't replace a phone call and a personal thing. Because you are a member, I think you have more input with your supervisor.
Their constituents.
As do the rest of us, so, I think that, it's a personal thing. Meeting Monica, step would be critical. I think that's how they'll remember, she'll remember that. She'll remember there's a committee, and she'll remember probably meeting somebody that was on it, and, you know, it'll pull up in her head again. Letters, harder, less personal, but we can do both.
Yeah, I had an opportunity through the Behavioral Health Advisory Board for all four of Tara Lawson Reamer's appointees to the Behavioral Health Advisory Board. We went and met and will now have regular meetings with Tara Lawson Reamer and several of her policy team, which is absolutely incredible. I mean, and I would love for us to be doing that, you know, when we have a fuller team and we're grooving and we can start setting into motion, meeting with each of the supervisors.
So do we need to do anything for the motion, or is it almost a quash because we're already?
Well, whatever you put in the letter, you know.
No, I mean, I don't wanna double the work for no reason, so if we've already got the motion, the second and all that stuff for the letter,
for
we
the
don't have
letter,
to go
that's
through that
fine.
again, okay.
Yeah.
I don't wanna make more.
Any other actions, what other action, or if the committee members will say that, sure, we're gonna call our board, our supervisor, and then report back next month, in next month's meeting, what the outcome was.
So, and I'll start. So I'm going to, my action item for myself is to contact Supervisor Anderson's office. And see where his office and staff is at for filling seats in his district for the committee. So that's my action item for myself. I hope that each of you follow along with that and then would provide an update to our next committee meeting. That would be fantastic. If there's nothing else for that one, I'm gonna move on to agenda item 12 to reschedule June meeting.
The June meeting is scheduled for June, or the third Wednesday in the month is June 19th, Juneteenth, and that is a holiday. So that would be that Wednesday. The committee can determine to reschedule the meeting or to skip June.
No skipping.
No, yeah, I agree with Jessica. Oh my God, I remember doing it. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's because she put her hat on. I don't understand when my brain, I have, just for myself, June 20th, I am completely open. That's just throwing it out there, so, we need to come up with a date before we, I don't know that we actually need to solve that today necessarily, but.
Yes, so that we can make sure you have a room.
Got it, okay, so, what, June 20th?
I can't actually do June 20th. What about the following Wednesday? That works for me. We have a Wednesday,
Twenty-sixth.
26th.
Yep, I'm open.
Wednesdays work generally. Forget the calendar.
Okay, I don't wanna exclude my.
No, Sue, I
fabulous-
think Sue's getting her, Sue, are you getting your calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I didn't mean to be presumptuous. there.
Thought she just given us the winning lotto numbers, I was excited.
Yeah.
Judge and
So June 26th. Good. Okay, so June 26th,
At 3 p.m.
same bat time, same bat channel, 3 p.m.
Feel free to bring organic cake for my birthday. Oh, is that your birthday? The day before, oh, I celebrate all week.
So,
I did too last week.
so May 13th was my birthday. So I.
Regular cake?
Regular cake, I vegan cake. Okay, so June 26th, 3 p.m. And if you'd be so kind, Katie, if you can cancel through calendar, because otherwise it'll completely mess me up and I need to remove the date from the calendar.
Can I move it?
Yeah. You're superwoman, you can do whatever you want. Okay, with that being said, we're gonna go to agenda item 13, new business, future agenda items. What do we have?
So then we heard homelessness.
Yep.
Is there some action, activity around?
Jessica.
Great, yeah, I would just, like to explore what John Brady brought to our attention, around, people being exited from what is supposed to be permanent housing, permanent supportive housing due to, their disability or symptoms of their disability.
How do we action item that? What would you?
may I?
Please.
It's a housing issue. We're going to have information from Todd about housing. And wouldn't it fit there to comment on that kind of thing to the blueprint people?
Yes. Yes, although the
I know it's.
Yes, we were-
We never addressed it.
yeah, we have limitations, the housing what we need to do is get some accessibility in the housing blueprint for sure. And what we also need to do is find a way to get some type of information from the county on maybe what permanent supportive housing is and isn't, and currently whatever accessibility measures are in place, and then we could do recommendations.
So would you like to hear from the Homeless Solutions, I forget the name of the department, but Homeless Solutions Department?
Possibly, or possibly Rhonda Brown. I feel like for some reason I've asked housing questions, and she's responded, and she really understands she's, I think, involved in contracts, and so she really understands the intricacies of permanent supportive housing. And I think that's important because that term is used like interchangeably and can mean different things, and we just, yeah, so either someone,
Homeless Solutions and Equitable Communities.
yes,
It's
or possibly Rhonda Brown or both. And Todd, can we
It doesn't
coordinate
hurt us
on
to do
that?
both.
Yes.
Well, we're a county-driven committee to advise county. They're not the boss of community-based organizations.
No,
No, we're just
If
getting
it's a contract issue, didn't we read a letter about ADA compliance for contractors at the county level?
Best to look into it for coordination of.
Yeah, and let me just add a little clarity here too, because the conflicts that are coming around or about in some of the communities right now, specifically one conflict that's become very public in Carlsbad is around an affordable housing development that has half affordable housing units with no restrictions whatsoever, although there are preferences for veterans. And then the other half of this affordable housing development was placement along with county funding and collaboration for the No Place Like Home program. And I'm not sure if everyone here knows what this is, but this is something we could definitely benefit, as well as anybody learning from our meetings. We could definitely benefit from information about the No Place Like Home program and how people are allocated. There is a requirement from the county that came along with their funding that says that those units have to go to somebody with the designation of SMI, which is serious mental illness. There's a lot of confusion around what SMI means, even from our own board of supervisors who have been commenting on this issue in Carlsbad. And you know, really the word severe is used a lot, and it is serious. It's also not a diagnosis, but a designation. It often is purported to be for people who have the most significant mental health diagnoses, when in fact you can have any mental health diagnoses, and if you become impaired or limited in functioning in one or more major areas of daily living, essentially defining you as a person with a qualified disability, at any point in time in your mental health journey, you will carry an SMI diagnosis. So there's so much bias and so much information around what SMI is and isn't, and also how the county is determining who's going into these No Place Like Home units. And then because they're not vouchers that the county is providing, they have no lifetime viability. And you know what, I think some of the question is, if somebody does end up being evicted for something related to their disability, or they're not being accommodated due to their disability, they end up getting exited to the streets and not to another No Place Like Home unit. And I'm still trying to understand that.
Yeah, and we're talking
Right on
just
5
not
minutes.
to
Thank you.
Yeah.
interrupt you, but we're looking at what agenda items to put in, so let's not
Sorry.
discuss it yet. But
Thanks.
let's and we've got 5 minutes.
That was my fault. I should have.
So what we are there other agenda items? One, we do have the in-home supportive services presentation coming up in the May meeting, and that will be around how they handle the reasonable accommodation requests and accommodations, and how they work with providers to communicate those accommodations. So that is coming up in May.
So I guess the future agenda item could be to discuss how we can learn more and make recommendations around.
What we hear from that presentation in May.
Is this an additional,
Yeah.
is this is a new?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's specifically around permanent supportive housing. And I don't think we're gonna learn that from the housing blueprint, because they're not really addressing necessarily permanent supportive housing.
So I have homeless solutions in equitable communities and then I'll speak to you about who Rhonda Brown is. And then we have IHSS, other agenda items.
Yeah, so do we want our future agenda item just to be a follow-up on permanent supportive housing? Since we're
Oh,
on
okay, I'm
future
sorry.
agenda
I
items.
misunderstood. I thought we were doing the homeless solution for homeless, permanent.
Supportive housing. I'm done, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm just, yeah, my brain's done, so, no, I don't have anything to say, I think we've done so much today, I'm so impressed with everybody. We did some higher level organization, we came up with action items, we made motions. We
were real fun. We are small and mighty.
We were mighty
Real
and small today, and I'm good.
And we had great input from
Yes.
2 of our applicants who are looking to join the committee.
So with that, if we don't have anything else, which we probably do, but we don't have time for it. I appreciate all of you on the call, and appreciate everybody here, and of course Katie and Todd, thank you for being here. And to Vice Chair, this is their first day, so go team, great job everyone.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
And the recording.
Well done, well done. Something about that one. Million miles today.